This is a review of some of the questions at the Lesson 1 practice set. Okay, to get into these questions, you'll need to understand perfect squares and perfect cubes. And so we touched on this briefly already, and it will be a review of math you covered so far. However, if you can't remember it, that's fine. So we just considered the first 10 numbers here for perfect squares. You can continue on with as many as you like, but we will usually only go up to the number 10. So if you took 1 and squared it, and that's what this symbol here means, take any number and square it, well, you get 1. Take any number here, 2, and square it, 4. 3 squared, and you get 9. 4 squared, 16. 5 squared, 25. 36, and it continues on. Okay, so these are not new to you. Cubing, take any number and multiply it 3 times to itself. Again, 1 doesn't do anything special, so 1 cubed is just 1. 2 cubed, so you're looking at 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. 3 cubed, 27. 4 cubed, 64. 5 cubed, it's 125. Usually the questions that we're involved in won't expand beyond knowing up to 5 cubed. However, don't rule it out. It's just normally you won't see it. So simplifying a perfect square, perfect cubed, is just a matter of factoring. Factoring, you'll take a number that you have underneath the radical sign and break it up into its multiples. So what multiplies give you 24? And has to come from this list here. Again, we're not going to consider 1 because 1 doesn't do anything special. So the biggest numbers you're looking for, and the biggest number that divides in 24 is 4. So it'll be 4 times 6, and that's underneath the radical sign. You can do the square root of 4. You can't do the square root of 6. So square root of 6 stays as a radical. You can't simplify it. Since you can do the square root of 4, your rate is 2. So square root of 4 is 2, it's written outside. Square root of 6 is just 6. In question 4, you already have a number outside the radical sign. So that will stay there. So don't let that interfere with what you're doing. You still have to factor 75. So the biggest perfect square goes into 75 is 25. So 25 times 3. The 4 was already there. We know we can do the square root of 25, and the square root of 3 cannot be done. So square root of 3 will stay as a radical. Square root of 25 comes outside and gets multiplied to the number that's already there. So you have 20 root 3. Writing as entire radical is a matter of reversing the process. So you take the numbers that are outside of the coefficient and we're going to put it back underneath the radical sign. So what was 5 before it was taken out? Well, really what we're asking is, what number did you have to take the square root of to get 5 on the outside? And that's 25. If you don't see it right away, take the coefficient, put it back underneath the radical sign, and since it's square root, you square it. You're doing the opposite. So you take the 5, put it back underneath. It's square root, so you would square this. Okay, now work out your math. Do your exponent here first. So 25 times 12. Now if you just stop here, this is not the answer, but if you stop here at this stage for a moment, you should be able to come back with the question you started with. Square root of 25 is 5. You can't do square root of 12, so it stays there. Now, continue. We just multiply these together, so you would have 25 times 12. And you have root 300. Now, some of you may be thinking that this question right here, maybe it could have been written a different way, and you're right. 5 root 12 is not worked out completely. However, that doesn't matter for the example we're doing. So if some of you caught that, it wasn't lost on me. I know that's there. And even if this was worked out further, 12 is 4 times 3. Square root of 4 is 2, so we have 5 times 2, root 3, 10 root 3. And then if you want to write this as entire radical, you'd still come up with this as an answer. Because you take the 10, put back underneath, and there. And you would have 10 squared is 100 times 3, or root 300. Question 8, we're going to do the cube root of 540. So you need to review cube roots again. And just to have them here in front of us. So 2 cubed is 8. 3 cubed is 27. 4 cubed is 64. 5 cubed is 125. And the list continues. What we're looking for here is which one of these would be the biggest factor of 540. So if we had 540, and it is actually 27 times 20. So you're taking each of these factors here, and you're going to find out which one goes into 540. Cube root of 27 is 8. That can be done, but you cannot do the cube root of 20. So just remember, keep the cube root symbol there. And the last question out of this practice set, write as entire radical here. So the process stays the same as with square roots. So we'll write the cube root symbol. Whatever coefficient you have on the outside here, you're going to write underneath the radical sign, but you have to cube the entire thing times 5. So the cube root, 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. And here's the part the students sometimes make mistakes on. You're cubing a negative. So that means a negative multiplied 3 times. So you're doing a negative multiplied 3 times. A negative times a negative gives you a positive, times a negative again gives you a negative, times 5. So your final answer, and that negative, so 65 times 4, 64 times 5, 320.